You are clear to enter. Welcome to Pizza Planet.
Welcome to Pizza Planet,
a Pixar podcast.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Gareth.
And we're your delivery guys.
Bringing you a square box of round, hot, cheesy Pixar goodness.
We've got a bounty of slices in today's feast, so let's dig in.
We're back. It's Pizza Planet, a Pixar podcast, and we just saw the movie Elio, the movie Pixar released for 2025, summer, June 19th, is it? Yes, June 19th, and Elio is the movie that we just saw, and if you haven't seen it yet, you're silly because you need to get your butt in that theater and watch it right now. You will be forever changed, forever moved, and you will just love it. All I can say is it's just that simple, guys. If you don't go see Elio right now, you got to buy your ticket. You got to get the very next thing. If it's 8 o'clock and there's a 9 o'clock showing 30 minutes away, you need to go. If it's at 11 and you have to go to work tomorrow, I don't care. Just go.
No excuses.
Just go see Elio. It truly changed me. It made me feel a lot of good feelings. Those feelings that we have, if you know those Pixar fans out there, you know Inside Out, you know all the emotions. Yeah. You felt all of it. I don't know if I felt anger except for that one part, but we'll get to that. But stay tuned. But really excited, and I really am excited to be here with all of you because it's really special to be on this show, hosting. And I've got two wonderful guests with me. I've been waiting way too long to introduce them, but they are the top of the line Pixar gurus. I don't know anybody else who knows Pixar like these guys. And I'm so honored to be here and to be hosting this show and introducing you to the one, the only, Gareth Madison.
Hello.
Hey, Andy, thanks for having us on the show, man.
Yeah. Dude, I had no idea you hosted this show.
Yeah, it's been a long-kept secret. I know your listeners have been wanting to know who is the guy that voiced the Gusteau commercial.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Snap.
Anyone gotten cool.
There it is.
No, I'm just so thrilled to be here and to see Elio. And honestly, I still got goosebumps. I still got feelings in my bones. I don't know what they are, but I've got these feelings in my bones that just won't go away.
Do you need me to take over, Andy?
I think you do. All right, guys. If you've listened this far, time to let it go.
This is our friend Andy.
Yeah, all right. Round of applause for Andy. Woo!
I can't clap. I'm holding a mic right now.
That's okay. I'm clapping for you, Gareth.
Andy, thank you.
Welcome to the show, buddy.
Yeah, so real quick, let's give the audience a little bit of context. The guy whose soft, velvety voice you just heard is our friend Andy.
Yeah.
We've known him since high school. He was actually my production partner in our we've talked about how we met at the El Carter Career Center, right?
Yeah, I think in at least one episode we talked
about
this.
And we were in a digital media class. Andy and I were production partners in that class. Mm-hmm. Then the three of us were in a band together.
Yeah, all stemmed from that particular class.
Yeah, and
well, that's where we met, Gareth.
Yeah, you and I met in that class. Yeah. So Andy is a bit of the third musketeer in some regards.
Oh yeah.
The long lost.
We talked, the long lost Pixar musketeer. Because honestly, like we talked about this before, but the tradition that honestly led to creating this podcast was going to see Pixar movies on premiere nights, and Andy was a part of that core group.
Well, and it started without me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you guys went to go see Monsters University without inviting me.
With Jeremy.
Tell them how you really.
Oh yeah,
started.
so Jeremy was the other member. There were four members of our band. We should probably shout out Jeremy.
Shout out Jeremy.
He was actually he and Ben were the co-founders of the band. So I don't want to call him the fourth member. He's technically the first or second member, one of the two. I was technically the fourth. Andy was the third. Point is that the three of you, 1, 2, and 3, went to go see Monsters University, and I missed it. So it wasn't until 2015 when The Good Dinosaur came out. The three of us went to go see it, and we had such.
That's 10 years ago. This right now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's 10 years
That's
ago.
nuts.
10 years ago this November.
Okay.
Because 10 years ago right now is when Inside Out 1 came out.
Okay.
Which we didn't see together.
We did not see
Okay.
together.
Yeah.
But 10 years ago, I was going to school at Notre Dame at the time. I was
Yep.
doing a degree there.
Yep.
2015. I remember going to see it because it was more fun going to see the movie than studying for one of my classes.
Yeah. And so we had
Happy to
such
help you procrastinate.
we had such an invigorating like post-film discussion. I think we've talked about
We did talk about that.
before
Yeah.
how we had all these pitches for how to improve that particular movie.
We're
So-
like, we can fix this.
So we ended up then going to see Finding Dory the next year in 2016.
Jeremy was with us for that, I believe.
Again?
Yeah.
Again, what?
Jeremy was with us for that, I think.
He was not. In
No?
fact, you guys
Oh.
went to go see it without me.
Oh, let's not talk about that.
and
that
then
was a source of
and then I was like, guys, I'm so excited to see Finding Dory.
Oh,
and they're
no.
like, you guys are like, should we tell them? And you decided no. So we
Oh,
watched
no.
the movie together, and then I turned to you guys
And you
after
didn't
the
know.
movie, after the credits are rolling, and you guys just look so guilt-ridden, like dogs with tails between your legs. And you guys are like, we have something to confess. And I'm like, what? And they're like, we watched this movie last night.
Dude, you're such jerks, man.
that.
But then we did see
sorry
Coco
about
together in 2017,
Yeah.
as well as Cars 3, I think.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. And you fell asleep in that.
Yeah, I fell asleep during Cars 3.
Yeah.
That was 2017. 2018, we took a road trip to Chicago to go see Incredibles 3.
Dude, yeah. Man, you bring back so many memories.
Incredibles 2, right?
Yeah.
Did I say 3?
Yeah. It's
sorry.
coming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Incredibles 3
yeah,
is
yeah.
coming.
Is it
Sorry,
really?
Incredibles 2 is
Yeah.
20. Yeah, you didn't hear about this?
No.
So it's actually insert news jingle thing, stinger. Yeah, Incredibles 3 was gonna be directed by Brad Bird, but he stepped away, and now it's being directed, I believe, by Peter Sohn.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, this is, dude, Andy, this is so obviously amazing to have you on as our close friend, but also like, wow, this is truly providential and a time coming because look at that tradition that we had.
Yeah.
So having you back on, it feels right, man.
yes. Oh, and for anyone listening, if things sound different environmentally, we are recording in the parking lot of the movie theater where we just got out of seeing Elio. So this is the freshest review you will hear on this podcast because Andy drove like 2 hours
2 hours for this.
to meet us after work at the
Yeah.
movie theater. We all just saw the movie, and now we're going to talk about it.
Yep, live from the parking lot.
All right. So let's dive in. This movie, if you haven't heard of it, I'd like to hear a quick little rundown of what it's about, Ben. Go for the summary.
Yeah, the cliff notes. Well, guys, feel free to jump in and whatever I miss. But so Elio is a film about a boy
Named Elio.
who is being raised by his aunts, and he has a fascination with
Named
aliens.
Aunt Olga.
And he has a fascination with aliens, and he gets abducted by aliens where they think he is the leader of Earth. And then basically he goes on a journey
Of self-discovery.
of self-discovery. Yeah. How do I say this? And
Trying
where-
to avoid spoilers.
yeah, where he
Just let's say this up front. We aren't going to talk about spoilers. Do not worry.
Yeah.
Until we give you the spoiler warning. You will
Yeah.
be warned.
of self-discovery and learns what it means to learns what true friendship and family is all about. So that's a Cliff Notes of Elio.
Yeah, so with the character of Elio, one thing that I find interesting with him as a character, did either of you guys find him somewhat a little bit unlikable in the first act? Like, I think that this is one of the first time, well, maybe not, but like this is definitely an example of a movie where the protagonist, they let him be a little bit sour, a little bit
Yeah.
like not edgy in a dark sense, but just he is annoying, and he is hard to understand. And I felt a little bit worried at the beginning of the movie because I'm like, oh, am I going to care about this guy? Like when he's in peril and when things are going on, like, am I going to be rooting for him later on?
Yeah.
But I think that it must have been intentional because by the, halfway point or even earlier in the movie, I'm completely invested in his character, and I'm kind of starting to view those idiosyncrasies, those things that I might interpret as annoying, as just a reminder, like, hey, like, we all know someone like this, and you just judged this character, so, like, put yourself in your own shoes, really, and look at the people who you judge. You know?
Yeah.
That kind of idea of, like, it holds up a mirror a little bit to people who, struggle with dealing, with, I think in this case, a difficult person.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And I mean, for me, the movie starts with such a bang. Like I remember just kind of realizing, like, holy moly, we are aware of, not to be spoilers, but we're aware of his family situation. I mean, it's probably not a spoiler to say that, like, if he's being raised by his aunt, then, like, where are his parents, right?
Right.
So I don't know, but
you learn that in the first minute or two.
So we can say that.
Well, let's be vague. Let's be vague
right.
about what happened to his parents, but
yeah.
we could definitely say he's being raised by his aunt because of the situation.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ben. But I was going to just say real quick, like, the feeling that, to your point, Gareth, that he was unlikable and kind of weird, and I think you can attribute that to trauma.
Yeah, totally.
And so obviously his parents, the situation with them affecting him, doesn't mean though that you have to, if you do so, like going forward, like, you kind of see his quirkiness, his how he treated some other people in the film. It was very selfish. And it was all about him and what he wanted. And like, that naturally comes off as like, well, this kid's just all full of himself, and he's, not appreciative, and he's not, he's just in his own world, basically.
Yeah, he's kind of obsessed. And
so
with
he's
aliens,
obsessed.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's obsessed with these things, and it didn't give off the vibe. Now, in some way, I felt bad for him because I could already feel from him, like, this kind of, like, he's clearly, he thinks this is what he needs to be doing to be loved.
Yeah.
And so he's doing it. So at one hand, I was like, I really don't like this kid. But I also felt more like pity for him.
Yeah.
And so I think
Empathy,
it did work in a way, but pity can only go so far. If he continues to take advantage of it, and if he knows what he's doing is wrong and he's doing it anyway, then so I don't know if that answers.
I think it's empathy, and for because of his trauma, and I think it's done really, really well. And for me, I didn't have an issue with him being unlikable because I just kept thinking about, like, this kid's going through so much,
right?
For me, it was easy.
At a very young, vulnerable age, and so he's trying to figure out how to cope and survive. Yeah,
but he does when he becomes a little bit more empathetic. Then he's much more enjoyable.
To be clear, I'm not saying that he's not empathetic from, like, the perspective of, like, there are reasons why he is the way he is. I was saying that from the beginning, I was, like, worried that I wouldn't be able to root for him.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That which is different than empathy, I think.
I see what you mean. Yeah. That does change. Yeah.
And I definitely was rooting for him by the end of Act 1, and so any concerns about him being just unpleasant to go on this journey with were dissipated.
Yeah. Should we talk more about the other characters too?
Yeah. So obviously Zoe Saldana plays his aunt. She ended up being more prevalent in the movie than I thought she was going to be, because I was like, how are they going to do this alien abduction story and then involve people who are also on Earth, So I won't spoil anything, but that was, I think, done really well, like making her an important, vital part of the story. She never, like, disappears or goes away. She's always very present and relevant. I liked all the alien characters we met. I think the most important alien character we meet, I don't think we're gonna call this a spoiler, but we'll talk about.
Yeah, his friend that he makes. Yeah.
Yeah, he makes a friend up in space. I'm gonna look up his name real quick.
Gordon.
Gorgon?
Gordon. Was it just Gordon?
It's Glorden.
Glorden, yeah,
Glorden.
yeah,
Okay.
Glorden. He's like a roly-poly almost, but except
Yeah.
he has a kind of terrifying mouth,
Or like a slug almost.
like a Demogorgon from Stranger Things. if you
Actually,
combine
his
that with a
do you know what his
slug.
mouth reminds me of? You
Demogorgon?
remember? No. The monster that the Guardians fight at the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
It's been a while, but okay.
Okay, like there's a scene where Drax jumps into the monster's mouth, and you see it in slow motion as it's like opening its mouth, and it's got all the teeth and stuff, and it
Scissory
looks
teeth.
it looks like Glorgon's mouth.
Someone's got
Or Glordon.
Someone's got a
It's-
theory out there now that like it's the same character. No. So yeah.
Same race at least.
So and then we have there's some other human characters that because I don't know if again I don't know if it's a spoiler thing, but talking about the school that he goes to, he has some
Oh yeah, Bryce and Caleb.
Bryce and Caleb, some other like campers, the boarding school campers that he meets.
Boarding school students, I think is the.
Sorry, I don't know why I said campers.
There was a camp in the movie, though.
Yeah, they're at a camp, but yeah. So
They were camping at a boarding school.
no, they were
But
boarding school students that
called
are
a camp,
camping.
though, wasn't
Was it?
Yeah. It was boarding school students at a camp.
But it was called a camp.
Yeah.
But
no,
that
for
wasn't
sure.
the boarding school. They were students at a boarding school attending a camp.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm
yeah.
telling Andy.
They're campers that want to go. No.
Because it was only for 2 weeks.
So
Yeah. It was like almost where you would like.
Because he wasn't going
Check
to
it out.
stay there for a school.
basically,
Yeah.
the function of these
like discerning
kids,
it.
Bryce and Caleb, they kind of show us how Elio fits into the other kids his age in on Earth, and it gives some context to why he feels like he doesn't want to be on Earth. Because again,
Yeah.
if we didn't go deep enough into the story, if you've not seen the trailers, this is a kid who doesn't want to be on Earth.
No,
he wants
no.
to be abducted because he thinks that there's somewhere else he belongs.
Yes,
And so when you
yeah.
see him interacting with Bryce and Caleb, it is showing like and to be clear, Bryce is a little bit olive branchy. Caleb not so much. But the point is that it's showing these very, typical kids, and his kind of perception of himself through their eyes, and not feeling like he belongs with them.
Yeah, and that's what makes it really, really captivating, because from the trailer, it just seems like, oh, here's just a kid. He just accidentally gets, abducted, and now he's like this, this fake ruler of Earth.
Right.
But like again, Pixar is so good about adding emotion into everything.
Right.
And so you realize like. That's what makes this movie so powerful and worth checking out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Is because here's a kid who thinks that like home, Earth is not home, and he's pushing everyone away from him,
Yeah.
and he's looking for meaning and purpose in somewhere else, and so it makes it so powerful emotionally for him when he
Yeah.
gets there.
I do want to point out it's widely hypothesized that the desire to be abducted was one of the major changes made to the story when Domishi and the other director, whose name I keep blanking on, Madeline, when they took over, this isn't confirmed, but like the thought was he abducted in the original story just because like he was abducted and then he went on the journey, but then by changing it to like he was looking to be abducted, it gave him this goal and this drive to be like to juxtapose with his sense of belonging within Earth and his family, and instead he thinks he belongs in space, so he's trying to get abducted, which is really smart. Whether that came from Domishi and Madeline or if that came from Adrian, I can't say, but it is a very clever spin on what could have been a very rudimentary concept.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely.
Versus like just getting abducted by aliens on
Accidentally,
of your own
or-
accord.
Yeah,
Or
on
not
accident.
on accident.
They abducted you.
That-
Like I think the original idea might have been just simply like, hey, what if it's an alien abduction story, but it's actually fun and the kid makes friends,
Yeah.
kind of
In
thing.
this case, he actually wanted to be.
Right.
And then you could see the joy on his face when he actually was.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that kind of brought a new spin to it. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. It is really good.
And so let's talk about some of the other alien characters. There's this whole premise around the what is it called? The communa.
Oh yeah, the
Communiverse.
Communiverse.
So
yeah.
the Communiverse is essentially all of the most advanced alien species, the most evolved and knowledgeable species that are all have discovered, like, basically presumably world peace on their home planets.
Yeah.
And now they've come together to create kind of this committee, I guess, of ambassadors, and they share their knowledge with each other. They share their technology
Similar
with each
to
other.
United Nations.
Yeah. I guess that's pretty much what it is.
Or like Star Wars.
United
Because
Nations.
you're ambassador, and then United Nations, but
Yeah.
not knowing the scope, but that would be the initial thought I have is like
Right.
One-
And so they're vetting younger planets for basically membership, and so Elio ends up being a candidate because they think he's the leader of Earth for
Earth.
convoluted reasons, But then there's another candidate when he gets there, and that is how he meets. We already mentioned Glordon, but Glordon's dad is the leader of this other planet that is much more violent, much more aggressive, more aggro, I guess is the word. And so Glordon's dad really, really wants to join the Communiverse, but he's rejected because all he wants is the technology to build more weapons. So this creates this whole interplanetary conflict that basically makes the Communiverse like shut everything down. And Elio doesn't want stuff to shut down, so he volunteers to basically be the what is the word for that? The
Mediator.
mediator. Yes,
Yeah.
he volunteers to be the mediator for this conflict. And so that really is that's how he meets Glordon, and that's really the birth of the majority of the story for the rest of the film. And so I think it's really cool how they ended up making his involvement in this conflict feel very organic, because that was another thing that the trailers kind of gave me pause, was like, how is it gonna make sense that a kid ends up like mediating for this United Nations and this violent alien species, and the way they did it, of him just like, he desperately wants to be part of this utopia, this outer space paradise, and the only way he can get what he wants is to ensure that peace is resolved with this aggro planet. So he goes headfirst into danger, and I bought it. I feel like and that also speaks to the weight and gravity of how badly Elio wants to be away from Earth, because he knows that the only alternative to basically trying to talk down an aggressive, violent alien is to go back home.
Yeah, right. And it's really good too, because he's living a lie, right? He's not actually the leader of Earth. So this utopia, in the midst of this utopia, the utopia only exists as long as he maintains the lie.
Right.
And so that's compelling. But then also with Glordon. Glordon. What's great is you see this parallel between Glordon and his dad, and Elio and his aunt, and that's a great parallel to look for when y'all listeners out there watch the film. It's done really, really well with this father and son relationship, and then this with Glordon and his dad, and their kind of troubled relationship, and then Elio and his aunt and their troubled relationship, and that kind of mother-like son relationship. It's really beautifully done in the film, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna mention about I'm trying to find his name, but the Grygon is the name of Glordon's dad.
Oh, Grygon.
Lord Grygon. This is just a random rabbit hole, but I wanted to mention he is voiced by Brad Garrett, and this is his, by my count,
I had recognized his voice.
fourth Pixar role.
Yeah.
He's been working with Pixar since 1990. When did Bugs Life come out? 1998.
Oh.
He was the Hercules beetle. I'm trying to remember his name in the circus in Bugs Life.
Heimlich?
No,
Oh.
that's the caterpillar.
Caterpillar, sorry.
The Hercules beetle is what is his name?
Oh,
I'll
yes,
think of it
yes,
later.
yes, that guy, yeah.
But he played Bloat, the pufferfish in Finding Nemo.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
And then Andy,
Andy.
he played Gusteau
Oh,
in
wow.
Ratatouille.
No wonder he was my favorite character in the film. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's talented, jeez.
So this is his fourth Pixar proper role, but it's actually his sixth Pixar affiliated role because
Wow.
he had a role in Buzz Lightyear Star Command, and he had a role in the Planes franchise, and also while we're name dropping stuff, he was also in Tangled.
That's truly remarkable that, like, yeah, because, I knew I had heard him before. So that's amazing that he was Gusteau, he was the Blowfish. I think what that speaks to, one is, his character and his, like, voice kind of fit a certain role, and, like, obviously the deep nature of it and kind of the, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, the deep kind of wide voice that he has, like, allows it to fill a character with a larger stature. And so this character, the father, large, great figure in this, planet, very menacing, very, dark, and he's shooting, he sounds very cruel, very,
You mentioned he's menacing, and that's so interesting that all of his roles up to this point with Pixar have been teddy bears.
Yeah, Gusteau, obviously a very teddy bear kind of man, although he did have an affair, but
the bloat from Finding Nemo.
Linguini was an affair. I'm kidding.
Yikes! We just destroyed Gusteau's honor.
I'm kidding.
And then the Hercules beetle in Bug's Life, whose name we're forgetting, is also like very much a literal teddy bear. So you have
Blowfish, yeah.
You have these very comedic characters, and then he plays this basically the villain of the movie.
Yeah,
really.
And
good
it was
villain.
super cool to see that he is capable of doing the menacing side of that voice.
Although Blowfish at the top of Monohagalugi was very menacing. I'm going to say that
Just
right
saying
now.
there.
Just saying that. He was very menacing.
that's fair.
Wah, ooh, ah, ee, wah, ho, ho, ho.
Another thing I wanted to pick your guys' brains on is the animation. What were your guys' thoughts on the animation? The look.
Dim is the Hercules beetle in Bug's Life.
Dim.
Oh, Dim. I forgot about that.
Sorry, you asked about the animation?
Yeah. What were your thoughts on the animation, the styles?
I loved the opening sequence where the opening credits, titles, what have you, show the Voyager satellite going out into space. And the score, which we haven't talked about, is beautiful in this movie.
Yeah.
It's I'll look his name up here in a minute, but it's I believe a first time Pixar composer.
I didn't recognize
But he
him,
did an amazing job because this movie has a lot of like grandiose like space visuals behind it,
Right.
Also lots of very imaginative like alien world type stuff. Like, what does alien technology look like? It's not just the typical like recognizable alien stuff,
Like cliche
it's
kind of.
it's very creative.
Yeah.
It's very much trying. I could tell the animators were trying to design stuff that wasn't necessarily referencing or ripping off other things. They were maybe in subtle ways they were, but it definitely didn't feel redundant or like it was being pulled directly from something else. It felt like it was its own original, like the world building was just very recognizably unique.
Really unique, yeah.
The claw machine is jammed. Sorry, we gotta fix that. We'll be right back.
Like, dude, have you ever hung 10 on the EAC before?
Like no, man. What's the EAC?
Oh, intro. That's the East Australian Current, dude.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, dude. Well, hey, like, now's your chance. It's like a vortex tube of awesomeness. You can do sick flips, shell grabs, and 360s. Plus, the views of the sea are totally righteous.
Righteous. Sign up now to register for Crush's next tour and come ride the EAC. Side effects from the tour include possible headaches, nausea, and vomiting. If you sense that you might be hurling, please note, no hurling on Crush's shell. He recently waxed it.
Are you tired of the same old bland breakfast cereal? Well, look no further than Incredible O's, the official breakfast cereal of Mr. Incredible and Pals. This delicious morning treat is not only the best tasting cereal, but it's packed with vitamins that will help you grow strong like Mr. Incredible himself. Incredible O's, now including frozen ice blast shaped marshmallows. Get a Mr. Skipper-Doo toy in every box. Look for it in the cereal aisle. And watch Mr. Incredible and Pals on Saturday mornings at 8. What was that? Getting pulled from the air? Superheroes illegal? Product recall? This will put us in the hole, no question. What are we going to do with all these refined grains coated in synthetic sweetener? Oh, no! We got the claw machine figured out. Now we can get on with the show.
Yeah, I felt like it was very just cinematic too. Like there was so many shots, especially of Elio. Like there was one shot where it's like he's on the shore of a beach. And it was like shallow focus shot, and it was just like very cinematic. They did a really good job of capturing a lot of, I don't know, just cinematic images. I don't know how else to say it. It felt, there was a lot of artistic choices that they made visually in the film that I thought were pretty great. But yeah, what about you, Andy? Any thoughts on the
Obviously,
animation?
I'm not as an expert in animation as
Neither
you
of us.
guys. Well, I know, but what I think from a visual standpoint, if I just had to, just I loved the colors of the communiverse.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the way they, like the creativity, like when you're looking at, when you think of aliens, I don't know, at least for me, like when I think of aliens, obviously you think of old school movies, whether it's E.T. or the horror movies like Alien and, Sigourney Weaver and all that.
Right.
This was done in a way that was like, obviously they were friendly.
Yeah.
But then you had obviously ones that weren't, like the alien, I can't forget his name.
Glordon.
Dragon,
his race.
Glordon.
But although they were kind of going off of the leader, and the other guys were just following his example. So I never felt like this isn't real or this isn't realistic. Like it felt like, like this is an alien race, but they're very sophisticated and they know what they're talking about. And but yeah, just the creativity of the different aliens, and then there was like one that was a mind reader, and the way they developed her made her look, or the alien look, like had like this, I don't know,
Tentacles
and stuff that could go in and like look at you and like know your mind. And even Glordon and his race, like the creativity of that and how they actually looked, but then they used these like suits with weapons attached. They were actually very similar to the rest of the alien race, in my opinion.
I see
When they were actually out of the suit, because we can get into that. But like you had the suit, which made you think like, man, these are menacing creatures. But actually, it was a creature similar to these others in the communiverse, but with a different mindset.
Bro.
And so when I'm thinking about that, I'm like, but I never thought these aren't aliens, and yet obviously Elio's coming in, and he didn't ever think, oh my gosh, like you guys don't seem legit. You do. So I don't know. It just to create that many creatures, and to do it in a way that is, because these are a bunch of races and like different everywhere, and it didn't feel like it was, because I feel like you could get into a trap where like you're just creating like a very similar one, and they're just all the
Right.
same. And you could have just sent him to one planet,
Right.
and sent him to like one planet that has a specific race and is just abducting him.
Right.
But to have like
All these
hundreds of
different-
them,
Yeah.
and that shows a lot of creativity, and then the animation to do that, and then the world that they were in, I think speaks volumes and what the animators were able to do.
Yeah. You said something a little bit ago that blew my mind. So I just want to point out it did not occur to me that there is a thematic purpose behind the design of Grygon and Glordon and their whole race. So this is the villain race, the violent people. Andy's pointing out you find out partway through the movie that they are literally just like little slugs things.
Spoiler?
They're kind of
Is
cute.
that a spoiler alert?
Well,
Whatever.
Not
I don't know.
at all menacing.
yeah, not at all menacing. They're kind of cute.
Kind of cute, actually.
But they wear these like mechanical like mech suits that are like kind of crab shaped, and they've got like guns for hands and stuff.
Yeah.
And but what you said is once they step out of the suit, suddenly they just fit in with all these
Everyone
other
else, yeah.
and it made me realize like that is so humanizing to have a villain that is like scary and aggro and all this, and then basically make it so that the way you perceive them by the end of the movie is no different than these other like more cuddly characters, and just what that says about the way we view humanity. Like we can villainize people, and we put these thematic or symbolic suits on them to make them scary. Like we see people who do bad things and we think, oh, they're different than us, you know?
Right.
But in the end, like we're all the same, and
Yeah.
we're all like ultimately vulnerable. And I do think that was intentional. That had to be intentional on the part of the filmmakers to kind of say something about what, bad people are in our eyes,
Yeah,
Right.
that the people we view as enemies, as threats, are just like us, and how they got there. That's up for question. But in reality, yeah, they're
A
just
gun is something you wear, is basically what this movie is saying.
It's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, it's not
the
who you
person
are,
is not
yeah.
the weapon or the
Yeah.
Yeah, it's deep. That's really
Yeah,
deep.
wow, and that's really cool. But that just speaks to like, and when that is revealed, like at the end of the movie, the father, making a big.
So we're gonna
decision.
we're gonna go into spoilers.
We don't have to yet, but I just saying the father, the way
we are now.
the way the father.
Let's face it, Andy. This is a spoiler. Okay, put up the spoiler warning.
2319! We've got a 2319! We've got a spoiler leak! We've got a spoiler leak! Spoiler!
Spoilers.
No, I just think, there's it shows a lot of growth and humility
Yeah.
on his part, and it was cool. But from the animation standpoint,
Yeah.
you didn't really think about it until the end, and
Right.
when you saw that.
Yeah, you guys are making me think, oh my gosh. Like, okay, so this is a spoiler alert for Star Wars Episode 6, but I think I can say it. That
That movie came out in the 80s, Ben.
All right, well, no.
I think I can spoil this movie
Is this-
from before
Are
I
you
was
bringing Jabba the
born.
Hutt into this?
No, this is okay. No, guys, Darth Vader is so menacing, right? His costume, his everything. But when he takes off his helmet at the end,
Right.
right? Like,
Okay,
it's just a
so-
dude. Like,
So we are officially in spoilers, right?
yeah.
Okay, so that you're 100% right. Grygon is literally Darth Vader in this movie.
Right? Father son. Oh my gosh, dude.
Yeah, because he takes his
Yeah.
suit off to help his son.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
Wow.
dude. Yeah. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
That's a great.
But it's done so
comparison.
well. It's not. It's obviously not like a direct homage, and it's
No,
obviously
no,
not
it's-
trying to rip it off.
No,
But it
it's fresh, yeah.
definitely feels like in the spirit of Star Wars.
It is, and that just makes
So-
me appreciate Star Wars more. Yeah,
So if we're in that spoiler territory,
we
obviously,
can talk
everyone-
about whatever
Okay,
now.
the floodgates are open, Andy. Let her rip.
You better have
Let it
seen
rip.
the movie.
You better see
If
the
you
movie
if
now.
you haven't seen the movie, pause the podcast.
Stop it.
Go watch the movie, then come back and press play on the podcast.
What was most moving to me was that vulnerability of the father and Aunt Olga at the end.
Yeah.
But and since we're talking about Glordon, how cool was it to see, even in the beginning, and like when Elio first meets Glordon's father, there is that kind of vulnerability he had with Elio. He literally told Elio, like, I don't know how to do this. Like my
Yeah.
son,
Yeah.
like
I'm a father.
I'm a
Yeah,
father, and
yeah.
I don't know how to do this. I don't understand him, and like all that. And then,
Wow.
so like that was literally there at the beginning, but yet the mask was, I'm gonna, take these weapons, and I'm powerful, and I'm messing, and so he's saying that there. So that was with him the entire time, and then even though, part of what he thought. Because then Elio obviously meets Glordon, his son, in the
Yeah.
ship,
Yeah.
and then that's when the real story starts and the
Yeah.
friendship builds, and we learn about Glordon and why he's basically expected to assume the same mantle of his father, to wear the suit, to become a conqueror, and all these things, and then, but he doesn't really want to do it, and there's that kind of vulnerability with him, and so what's really cool is to see his father. Had that vulnerability at the beginning, so it wasn't so crazy to us
Yeah.
when he literally breaks out of his suit out of love. He gives up his suit, his massive, weapon, and literally out of love breaks it so he can come to his son.
You
in this hour
want
of
to
need.
know something
Yeah.
that I didn't think about until now is the fact that the whole reason why Glorgon is his name, I think. Anyways, the whole reason he didn't want to go in his suit was because he called it being installed, and he talked about how he would have to live once he's installed, implying that this is a permanent fixture.
Wow.
This isn't something that you can just easily get in and out
Oh,
of.
I see,
It's
yeah.
something that you live in. And so for his dad to leave it, you mentioned him destroying it, which is putting icing on the cake, really. But the fact that he got out of it at all is a testament to his love, because that implies that he's giving, like, that suit is no longer usable at the moment he gets out of it.
And
Yeah.
because we
Wow.
never see him, like, there was never a conversation, yep, I got to get out of this now. How am I going to get back into this?
Yeah.
But even through the movie, though, he's like, my son, he still cared for his son, and he's like, what's wrong with where's my son? And so
Yeah.
he was still looking after him. Now he was still at that moment thinking, maybe my son will finally, it's just, we just need to do his initiation. We need to get him in the suit.
Yeah.
And obviously, the clone, since we're doing spoilers, the clone, got the suit, and we saw what that process was like.
Right.
But even after that, he's like, because he knew that, because in the
I love that it only took him a
Yeah.
couple seconds,
Yeah,
and he's
he
just
knew
like,
right away.
a father always knows.
But then,
Yeah.
just really quick, and then so we compared, Aunt Olga and Elio and their relationship, and
Right.
kind of that to father and son, to Glorgon, and
Yeah.
the similarities there. But the difference is Aunt Olga did not know it was an Elio, although she was taking notes.
She found out eventually.
no, she knew.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, yeah.
I think she knew
Did she
very
know?
early on.
Yeah.
And
A mother-
the whole
an aunt
reason
always knows.
See, it was
So
playing.
she knew as well.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
the line. A father always.
Yeah, I think
knows."
that they were drawing a parallel between her and
So there was
and
a
him.
parallel. Okay.
But
And
the
Grey
reason
Gun, yeah.
the reason I think we
It was
know
less obvious.
I think the reason we know that she knew was because they had that scene where she's like reacting pleasantly to all of his changed behaviors, and Elio gets a glimpse into that. He sees that and he gets sad because he's like, oh wow, my aunt loves my clone better than she loves me.
Yeah.
So that's confirmation of my already my worldview. It's
insecurity,
confirming his
yeah.
bad worldview that he doesn't belong on Earth, and that needed to happen for his character. Now, what they didn't reveal to the audience until later was what Ben referenced was the notes. I think she was taking notes all along. It just didn't reveal it to us.
Oh, she knew
Until and the reason she was like not showing signs that she knew is because she has to put up a facade because she doesn't know what she's dealing with.
Yeah, she
think
doesn't know
about
the clone,
it.
yeah.
She doesn't know where her nephew is. She doesn't know what this thing is.
Yeah.
She's just in investigation survival mode.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
she has to pretend that she likes him.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, what if it's an alien monster that wants to eat
Right.
her?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like she doesn't know what she's dealing with, and so that's why I think we can safely say that she probably knew it wasn't Elio in just the same amount of time it took for Grigon to realize that his son.
Yeah.
Right, so-
we know that's true because in that scene when Elio goes to bed, the clone Elio goes to bed, she smiles and then she frowns and she marches into a room and we see this huge board of all these notes and everything. So she's been working on this for a long time.
But
and so
I
she
definitely
knew.
was. I thought she didn't know, and they did a good job, at least for me, of thinking, oh, she just knew and everything was great. But that kind of changed things. And it's like, oh wait, she did know. But I think the difference, and I forgot about this. So the big moment of the movie, one of the big pivot points where he obviously gets abducted. You know, he's Elio, because we kind of talked at the beginning. You know, he was an unlikable character. He's on the beach trying to set up a signaling device to get the alien's attention, to abduct him. We kind of talked about how that's kind of a unique thing. But when it actually happens, there was the dude. So they're on an army base, but they work for. You think they work for NASA? Like, or some, because they're obviously space.
I think it was a military unit, wasn't
It's
it?
definitely a military unit because Aunt Olga is Major Olga.
Yeah.
And a couple of things that come up, but the main point of the movie being there's this scientist, you know, more eccentric guy who wants to. He believes that a message has been sent to Earth by aliens, and he wants
After retrieving the Voyager.
after the Voyager, the 1977 satellite.
He's a great character.
He's so funny, and one of the best moments in the movie is at the end there when he's like, yeah, he was a great comic relief.
When he's
When he poured
camp counselor.
his soft drink on himself.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah,
Yeah, well,
Can I just interject? We were laughing out loud numerous times during this
yeah.
movie.
It was
so
great. Yeah.
it is one of the
comedy.
one of the best experiences I've had recently in a movie theater where there's actual genuine fits of laughter.
Yes,
and that's why I
yeah.
like that. But not just that. But some of those moments, the moment, at the end, because they're trying to fly through space, and so this guy has to help him. But he originally detects that there's a message. He wants to send a message. Olga is part of the crew. Major Olga, Aunt Olga, who says, you can't do that, you're nuts, you need to take a week off. And Elio happens to be in the room. He finds a way in there. He had just got reprimanded. He's supposed to be in Olga's office, but he comes in, he sneaks in because he had heard someone who's coming into the meeting, somebody heard, about aliens. So he finds a way in there. He sends a message through this computer, and then the satellites send the message. And so at that point, the base shuts down. But the key moment is Olga is in the office. One of her jobs is to direct spaceships and satellites from hitting debris in space. And so she is one of the first. She sees suddenly these weird images that are being sent from the Communiverse.
Yeah.
And they're actually sending these images and these weird signals. And so she notices them. So to you guys' point, and then obviously at that moment she knew like something was going on.
Yeah.
And
Aliens
so,
might be real.
and then because Elio was so invested in it, and now all of a sudden he's got this weird, he's making all these different movements, and he knows the difference between different macs and cheese. He's asking to do chores,
and he doesn't even care about aliens anymore.
Right,
yeah.
he's the most model citizen. So she
the scene where the
How's your
neighbor drives
back?
by slowly and he's like, "How's your back?" And he's like, "Oh,
And for the record, Elio, I think before, yes. So for the record, Elio finds a way. He is taught in the Communiverse how to make a clone because they said you have to send a clone
Out of
back.
clone clay.
So that he's like, if you're an Earth leader, you need to send someone back so that people don't
They can
freak
fill
out.
your duties.
They can fill your duties. And so the clone is this very high intelligent version of him. And so he comes back as the clone, Elio does. And the first part, the clone was actually, so even though like we didn't, so the Elio clone was one of the best ways to like, because I mean, that the very first thing, I think it was a lot of it was related to the clone, but the clone, the very first thing he does, so Elio is getting chased by kids at the camp, and that's the other thing. He gets abducted by, the aliens on like a cliff on the edge of the ocean or by the beach, and they chase him out of the campsite through the woods, and they're about to punch him in the face, like, because Elio had made...
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
And so what I'm trying to say is, like, the clone then comes back in to that very moment and is like, the very first part, he's just this super helpful, like, yep, I'm going to go in there and it'll be great. And, I'm just going to go right in there. I don't remember exactly what he said, but like going back into the fight literally as...
He poses into like he has to he has to kind of do some gymnastics or like some what is the word
maneuvering to get
what is it called
finagling?
when people have like really flexible limbs? There's a word for that. I forget what it's called.
Finagling?
No, it's like an art. It's like
maneuvering, finagling.
I don't know. The word is right on the tip of my tongue.
Pantomime? I don't know.
No. Anyways, so he has to contortionist. He has to do some contorting to basically get around these guys who are frozen in time. They're originally holding him, like beating him to a pulp.
Or about to,
to beat him to a pulp, and so the clone just has to contort himself into these guys' grip, and then position himself so that his face is like right in front of a moving fist, and then he smiles and gives a thumbs up,
ready,
and he's about to get punched in the face.
Yeah,
and one of his last words to the real Elio was, "All right, have fun."
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, I forgot. He says, "Have fun."
Yeah.
And then this same Elio clone, the best part then was he's clipping like a bush outside of the house, and Olga's like, "Wow, he's really turning a new leaf," and he's like, "Yep," and then he like literally like there's a guy like driving by, who was it, and he goes, "Hey,
how's your back?
How's your back?" He's like, "Well,
he goes,
yeah."
But no, dude, I thought you were gonna reference when he cut his finger off.
And then he cut his finger off. But this clone was actually, like, interestingly, a really creative way of bringing in like comic relief, and obviously it was Elio, but it was like a super improved a version of him, but it wasn't really him, obviously. And Elga was smart enough to know, to my original point, the abduction happened. She wasn't just going to assume everything's going back to normal. So to your guys' point, she knew. And so, but she acted like she knew to play along. And so she figured out what was going on.
The clone was a really good comic relief character, but I'm also relieved that it wasn't just a comic relief character. It was also a important, dare I say, vital storytelling device to keep Aunt Olga's story, moving forward. And it also it wasn't just a gap filler, because part of the temptation is to be like, oh, well, what's happening on Earth while Elio is gone? Like, we need an explanation. Oh, well, we'll just send a clone down there, and that way we don't really have to address it. Yeah. So, when they first introduced the clone character, I was thinking, oh, this is kind of cheap. This is kind of it's like an easy solution to a story problem. But it turned out that it was actually serving a purpose in that it gave Elio, first of all, pause to be like, I don't belong on Earth.
Right.
And then it showed us how strong Aunt Olga's love for Elio is.
Yeah, exactly.
So it created a ever important juxtaposition that we needed to be able to tell the story. So I appreciated the heck out of that. But I do want to say there was one thing in the movie, Ben, we talked about the 22 rules of storytelling recently on the podcast, and there was one moment where I was like, does this break a rule? Because there's a rule, if you recall, about
they call it cheating. Like when you get someone out of trouble through coincidence.
Yes, right.
It's cheating. And I felt a little bit like they rushed through him getting captured by Elio getting captured by Grigon, and then just immediately escaping the prison cell because the window was just open. And then he immediately stumbles into Glordon's room.
Oh, I see.
And finds the bargaining chip.
Right. Yeah.
And so all of that happened very quickly and very conveniently, and I didn't necessarily feel cheated when I was watching in the movie, but I was very aware while I was watching the movie. I was like, is that cheating? And I was like, why doesn't it feel like cheating? And I'm wondering if it's because this is one of those rare instances of them being able to break a rule because that wasn't the trouble they were trying to get Elio in. Him going to prison wasn't necessarily an intended obstacle for his journey. That wasn't helping him grow. Like him overcoming being imprisoned wasn't going to help him on the personal story that these filmmakers are trying to tell.
Yes.
And so there wasn't any reason to make that sequence take longer than it did. They just kind of needed to get him paired up with Glorgon to move the story along. So they just threw in some coincidences that that brought us quicker to the more interesting part of the movie.
Yeah, and it works because initially it does seem like a conflict because he thinks he's about to be eaten, right? He falls in and gets stuck on this like web that is Glordon's web, and so we think he's about to be eaten because like he looks super scary when we first are introduced to Glorgon.
Yeah.
But then it's like oh, it's a twist. Actually, he's nice. So that's kind of but he's still like stuck. But then really the conflict lies is once they become friends. And then they do the clone. So we're getting back to, again, this clone story device is also purposeful because it serves them deciding to make a clone of Glorgon as well. And then that then becomes the true conflict is him trying to hide Glorgon, and then the clone gets found out by his dad, who says, the famous line, Andy, what is it?
A father always knows.
And can we just say right now, guys, that Grigon is #the best Pixar villain ever. Like I think, in my opinion, I'm not gonna let you guys say that.
This is a bold statement.
Wow.
I'm gonna say,
why didn't you come in with like a incoming hot take?
Yeah.
Why didn't you warn us?
My hot take is that I think Grigon is the best Pixar villain.
We need to make a stinger for hot take incoming.
Yes, we do. He's the best
Move
villain.
aside syndrome.
Yeah, no, okay, that's a good point. That's a fair
No,
point.
actually, Ben, I have never told you who the best Pixar villain is because we've had this discussion before about how I want to have a best Pixar villains discussion on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
Because I know who the best Pixar villain is, and it's not who you think it is. But I can prove.
Okay, well
so we need to earmark this
we'll save
debate
it
for later.
Yes,
because I know that there is a better Pixar villain.
Okay, well
and it's not Syndrome.
But to Ben's point.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna. We should save that for later. But the reason why I think Grigon is one of the top best Pixar
he could be your favorite
villains is because as we've already said, like he seems so menacing, he seems like a genuine villain, but constantly he keeps on saying, and it's easy to miss it, but he continually affirms his fatherhood and how much he loves his son. And like there's so many times where obviously he says a father always knows, but even in that scene he's still coming off very like he's like about to blast up the whole communiverse, but like he's still saying like I love my son. At the very beginning, like Andy said, he says I'm a father, and so like this is a villain who wants to be a good dad, and he's struggling the whole time. He's trying to figure it out, and then at the very end, right, like he changes. And so that's why I think he's such a great villain, because he genuinely loves his son. And normally with villains, right, they're just like one-noted, but like, dude, there's so much to him.
Is this movie more about, to that point, so Olga said at one point she didn't know how to be a parent. And
yeah, right.
At one point, is this movie truly about like the challenge of being a parent? And I only say that because obviously Elio's the main character, and he's the protagonist, and he's the one going through his journey and his own self-discovery about how he feels alone. But but I think that maybe it's a secondary main message of the movie, but the idea that parents don't have it all figured out. And so it's easy to see that because and obviously I think we spoiled already. Elio's parents obviously had died, and so he's without them, and even then, like, you're immediately thinking, okay, poor Elio, and rightfully so. And obviously, early on in the film, he's kind of, really difficult. Like he's skipping school to do these projects on the beach to try to get aliens contact. He's getting into fights. He actually commandeers equipment from two boys. He set up
Bryce
a
and
poster.
Caleb.
Yeah, Bryce and Caleb. Yeah, thank you. He had set up a poster, and he wanted to take it from them and then reject them, like, because he was like creating a club through the flyer, but then he literally was like a jerk and like, I'm taking
See,
this.
that's what I'm talking about
And
when
so-
I said he was unlikable at the beginning of the movie.
So, and he absolutely was.
Total jerk
but
move,
but I guess this flip side, it's easy to look at Elliot as the victim and say, well, poor Elliot, and he was, but also Olga and the difficulty of parenting,
Right.
and also it gives us like fruit for thought, like, like no parent is perfect, and even the best parent or even a parent who is around can have an effect on their child, and in a negative way, but not because they intended it, but because it's the way things happen. Like, you just can't be a perfect parent. So I don't know. That thought came to me as we were talking about this. But back to Ben, your point, I think you think he's a great villain, one of the best villains, because like he doesn't stay a villain, or he's maybe the most authentic villain. Because I guess if I'm thinking of like a villain, like, I don't know, I feel like you go two ways. Like, is he truly a villain? Like, he's truly evil, or is the best villain one that you see the vulnerability and like
because you
the
can
true
relate.
humanity of it?
Exactly,
reason-
because you understand
like,
their
'cause
motives.
The reason I think that he's one of the best Pixar characters, but not necessarily one of the best Pixar villains, is because what is inherently relatable and endearing about him and interesting about him is the fact that he gives up on his villainous ideals to come around to his son's needs, and that those villainous ideals have almost no connection to that revelation. In other words, he starts out, in my opinion, as a one-note villain. He's just a gun-toting aggro guy, and there's nothing that's motivating him that's making you go, I get where he's coming from. Like, you don't get where he's coming from until he mentions, I'm having troubles with my kid. Then suddenly he becomes relatable. It has nothing to do with him wanting to conquer the communiverse. Whereas I think that a great villain is someone who their motive and their means and like the bad things that they're doing, even though you don't agree with what they're doing, you understand it. And I think that the bad stuff, but I think that the stuff that you understand about Grigon is the stuff that's actually good about him.
That's why I think he's a good villain, is because he's commandeering the Commonverse. He's got people at gunpoint. Like, it's pretty villainous what he's doing, but it's just because he wants his son back. So
before that though, he was being
the very first time we are introduced to Grigon is he's literally in the Communiverse. Like, they have the setup, what did you call it?
And they deny
him entry into it. And because he says, with your technology and my weapons, we could,
So that's fair.
And then he threatens. He's like, let's blow it up, basically.
He is essentially
that's
saying...
fair.
He's attacking them,
He is attacking them. And then when he's not entered into it, he literally, like, explodes out of the wall or, like, the ceiling. And then,
he's pretty nasty.
He's got a very nice big ship. And, it does kind of bring vibes of Darth Vader, like, with the weapon, like the ships that he had. He had the big, large ship and then the kind of side ships underneath it.
Yeah, I think he tells Elio he was going to blow it up.
I'll rescind my statement that his actions, his villainous actions, aren't understandable, because I did forget that he was rejected entry into the Communiverse. So that does give him clear motives that you can understand doing his wicked deeds. But yeah, I do think I do think that his redemption is ultimately what makes him a great character
and a great villain.
Take 5. We gotta go deliver some pizzas. Be right back.
Can you hear that? Low rumble of engines coasting down the freeway on a breezy Sunday. The lush crunch of a tire making contact with a gravel road of unexplored possibilities. Feel the cool wind and smell the sweet sun-baked desert air as you accelerate down the timeless route. Witness the awe of the mountains protruding from the earth like beckoning palaces of crimson stone. Your road might be long, but it doesn't have to be hard. Make every moment driven by purpose at Radiator Springs, Arizona. This fake ad has been fake paid for by the fake Radiator Springs Tourism Commission.
Here, there's transformation. Monsters come gentle and leave ferocious. We're the creeps, the ogres, the krakens, the Martians, the yetis, who want to scare for a living. We come of all shapes, sizes, colors, and textures. We're a family, bound by a common bond, tradition, diversity, friendship, and excellence. Whether your talent is causing screams or designing the canisters that capture them, Monsters University is a place to find your truest calling and reach your highest potential. In the words of Dean Hardscrabble, scariness is the true measure of a monster. Open the door to your future and become the monster you are meant to be at Monsters University. Building tomorrow's scares today. Phew! Barely made that delivery. All right, back to the show.
But anyway, so but I wanted to say quickly before we wrap it up. I wanted to affirm something that Andy said. So I think that upon further reflection, the parallels between Aunt Olga and Grigon and Elio and Glordon. Yeah, dude, amazing parallels because they're both. So Aunt Olga and Grigon are both parents that are trying to figure it out, and they want to connect with their kids. And then conversely, you have Elio and Glorgon that they both want to connect with their parental figures. And so this is just like we talked about Finding Nemo when we broke Finding Nemo down. We talked about how all the characters serve purposes and how like Crush, for example, right? Crush is a character you think like, oh, he's just hilarious, like did ride the AC, But we realize no, Crush is a father who loves his son, who gives his son Squirt freedom. And Marlin is a fish who's a father who doesn't give his son freedom. And you realize, wow, Crush serves a great purpose in the story. Yeah. And I think in the same way, you have Grigon serving as
he's the mirror to Aunt Olga.
And they both learn both these relationships mirror each other, and it's really effective.
Yeah, I was gonna say while you're talking, I was thinking about our past discussions of how like Pixar likes to play with mirror characters or like characters that counterbalance each other, and you always have the two on the poster like Marlin and Dory, Carl and Russell. But then why doesn't this movie have like Elio and Glordon on the cover?
Yeah, right.
On the poster, or for that matter, have Olga and Grigon on the poster.
Yeah.
No, that wouldn't make any sense. But I was gonna say one thing I was thinking during the movie. I was like, I like that parallel that is that connection between Grigon and this whole parenting theme and Olga. But what I think is really powerful is that Grigon is Glordon's like biological parent, and he knows Glordon. We can see he knows that his dad loves him. He knows that he's wanted. Yeah, and we contrast that with Elio, whose parents died, and he states in the movie, the only people that I know have like truly loved me are dead, and
Yeah,
like his
right.
parents are or only wanted me is I think the word he said. The only people who truly wanted me are dead, and so he ultimately views Aunt Olga as someone who he's a burden to. He
Right.
thinks like, oh, my parents died, and now she legally has to take care of me. I am such a burden to her. You know, that so much of the movie is him seeing Glordon's relationship to his dad, Grygon, and then recognizing Grygon, this sourpuss, can still love his son like that. And
Yeah.
he looks at Aunt Olga and is like, wait a second, she loves me like that.
She does care. Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
and so the revelation that Aunt Olga, who in his mind isn't his parent, is his parent, and like she does want him. That's what's, I think, really, really powerful about that parallel.
And sacrificing, you know, your vulnerability or your tough guy actor in you know, the father, you know, Grygon's case, he sacrifices his stature as a leader, his big tough, you know, macho,
The
like
suits,
his
yeah,
power.
yeah.
He gives that up for his son. And Olga also
gives up her career.
Oh, yeah,
Yep,
dude, that's
she gives
good.
up her career,
great
but not
parallel.
only that, goes into a spaceship with him.
Yeah.
And literally almost is
Wait,
willing-
she gets what she wants because her career path was to become an
Astronaut.
astronaut. She wanted to become an astronaut, and guess what? You get to go to space.
Yeah.
Dude, Pixar,
And she
let's
was-
go.
Yeah, you know, she there was a lot of deep there, and ultimately the
Let's
the
go.
best part of the movie for me, other than there was another funny scene where the clone is like saying, "Hey, you know, I'm melting, and if you want to use me over fertilizer."
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the funniest line.
That was
but then
amazing, yeah.
at the end, because Elio earlier in the film, before he got abducted, he's in the house with Olga, and he literally tells her, "You're not my family."
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
at the end, he has a choice. The Communiverse ambassadors basically accept him back and say, "You can stay here." And he's super excited, and he sees Olga looking on. And Olga even said earlier in the film that she didn't want to be alone. And so he had a choice, and then he went back to her and said, "You are my family." And that, got a lot of fuzzy feelings inside.
We haven't talked yet about how many freaking Pixar feels moments there are in this movie, because I think I counted 4 genuine moments where I was starting to get choked up.
Yeah. there's a lot.
And
It's really
so I'm trying to remember what all of them were, because there's quite a few. There's the moment when Elio first returns to Earth, and he first approaches Aunt Olga on the beach, and that's when she tells him, you know, like yes, I wanted you.
yeah.
Then there's the moment when, I'm trying to remember if there's something between this, but I know for sure I was getting choked up when Elio's crying over Glordon, because it seems like Glordon died. And
Yeah.
then there's the moment where what's his face saves Glordon, Grygon,
Yeah.
Glordon's dad.
Yep.
He saves him. He steps out of his suit, and he shows, you know, that vulnerable love. And then there's, I think, one more, the moment maybe when Elio decides to leave the Communiverse. I think those are the 4 moments. I might be conflating the Grygon and the Glordon dying one. So there might be another one, but I feel like I counted 4.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
really good. Yeah.
It's really good. I'm just remembering the scene when they're crawling through the tunnel, Elio and Glordon, and they're talking about Aunt Olga, and then I think Glordon even says something like, "Dude, she gave up a lot for you," or something like
Yeah,
dude,
she must love you.
Yeah, she must love you. And he's like, no, not at all. And it's like,
Not at all, boy.
not at all, boy. Wait, that's not a Pixar movie. No. So yeah, no. There is a lot of Pixar feels, and this movie I think is one of the is definitely a Pixar film that I think has so much depth, and I think the more that we revisit it over the years, I think we'll find more and more just how deep this movie is.
Yeah.
We have some fans that are really wanting to be on the pod. They're approaching the car now. Okay.
The benefits of doing the the show in the parking lot of a movie theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyone who can't hear,
This is truly live and fresh.
Is this weird, guys? Like, people just look at us, they see us with mics. It's parked in a car.
well, so
parked
far,
in the parking lot, like-
far I've only seen one guy who I think clocked us, but,
Nice.
but
All right.
he didn't seem weirded out by it. I think oddly enough, it wasn't the first time he's seen people
Hey, this is
recording
the
a podcast.
This is
in
the
a
21st
movie theater
century.
parking lot.
Content creators, come on, people.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's probably more commonplace than we would think. But yeah, I think we're good to talk again. Sorry, there was a family getting into a car right next to us, and our windows are open. So
We want to give you listeners a true raw experience, and so this is what you get.
Yeah, this is what you get. We got 3 dudes in a parked car at 9 o'clock at night with holding microphones while little kids are
We're
hopping
committed.
in and out of their cars.
oh, there's the engine. If you can't hear it, I'll move my mic close. No, I'm kidding.
Let's go in for a closer listen.
The Claw.
All right, boys, we're wrapping it up here. So let's start out with the claw. So the proverbial claw, like in Toy Story, right, that reaches in
The
and,
claw. Here, say it with me, Andy.
The
claw.
and pulls out. So what did you proverbial pull out of this movie? Andy, tell us, man. What'd you get?
That being a parent is not as easy as it looks, and
Testify.
Preach, brother.
that we all, that parenting is not as easy as it looks, and so to appreciate our parents for what they do, but also they don't have to be perfect to love us, and we all go through some sort of major life event where we get hurt, but the answer is not to run away; it's to grow closer and connect with those that are right in your life.
Beautifully said, Andy.
Yeah, by the way, if
Well
the
done.
audio sounds different than it did a minute ago, we rolled up the windows.
There you go. All right, Gary, what'd you pull out of this movie?
Kind of like Andy said, I think that it spoke a lot to parenting. I really did connect with the idea of, being there for your kid no matter what. Like in Grygon's case, I feel like there's a parallel between him and Glordon that reflects a lot of experiences with people who have parents that are of a generation that might view things differently, whether that be politics or religion. And basically parenting breaks down those barriers. Like, you can still love your family even if you don't have the same views as them or ideals as them. Family is family, and to me that is the power of the character of Grygon. And then Olga teaches us, as far as parenting goes, is like, well, more so Elio teaches us that your parents, your relationship with your parents isn't necessarily about just whether or not you fit in to your family or not. It's, you're always going to be loved. You're always going to be wanted. And so that there's always maybe a fairer statement, a better statement, a more accurate one would be, there's always someone who wants you. There's always someone there for you if you look around. And so, yeah, I think that this movie just had so many layers of depth in those relationships. And then just Elio as a person teaches me personally, like, hey, like, I look at people and sometimes I judge them. Sometimes I think, oh, that person's weird. That behavior is quirky. That interest is not something I'm interested in. But ultimately, like, that person is being informed by experiences, whether that be trauma, whether that be, just the way that they were raised or specific things that they've encountered in their life. And that is totally okay. And that is something to be curious about. That is something to celebrate and invest time in getting to know someone, because it's like, you never know if what you're seeing manifesting is a result of something that, a cry for help in Elio's case. So I don't know. I think that this movie builds so much empathy. And we talk a lot about this on the podcast, but I just think Pixar and Domishi especially is really proving herself as being someone who can take really, really accurate, detailed characters out of these kind of coming of age ages, like this very like preteeny kind of age, taking these characters and making them four-dimensional and like as empathetic despite the quirks about them that you're like, yeah, I don't see why I would like that person. Like if like I think I mentioned this in a podcast recently, didn't I? Where I was like, there are Pixar characters where I'm like, yeah, if we hung out in real life, I probably wouldn't like them. I probably wouldn't get along with them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make them a bad character. That doesn't make them not
Sorry,
interesting.
Brave. I mean,
yeah. That doesn't make them a bad character. That doesn't make them not empathetic. That doesn't make them not lovable or interesting or worth celebrating. And that's how, you know, I feel like a lot of Domishi's characters kind of celebrate those idiosyncrasies. But yeah, I think there's a lot to break down over the next couple days. I'm probably going to be waking up having revelations about like, oh, whoa, like the aspect of the movie blew my mind, or this taught me something, or this. And I feel like this will be the gift that keeps on giving, because I do really want to watch it again, and I really want to like learn more from the storytelling in this movie.
Absolutely, man.
What did you get out of it, Ben?
Well, I don't know if I can say it any more profound. Actually, I know that I can't say it any more deeper than what's already been said. So I guess I'm
right, then
pretty
you're
much okay.
All right,
Wrap it up.
Two peps.
Two peps. No, yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, just like you said, Gareth, I forgot how you stated it, but that there's always someone that loves you. And then I think Andy touched on this too about like, you know, that we often go running, looking for love, which I know sounds kind of sappy, but like we go looking for belonging. Yeah. And actually we had a deep chat with Andy, a little bit before this podcast, where he was catching us up on life. And you know, you touched about this, Andy, too, about just like in your own life, like, you know, when you kind of, you go doing your own way in life. You do the things where you think, okay, this will make me happy, or but deep down, it's actually not what you need. And you need to kind of like surrender that pursuit and embrace what's already around you. And I can relate to that a lot, you know, as a husband and as a father. It's really easy to get distracted by things, or you get stressed, and you just kind of dream about you almost dream about like, you know, oh, if I only had more time to do my own thing or whatever. And those are all valid feelings, but I'm almost actually seeing the metaphorical or allegoricalness of Elio in space, and maybe myself, and like, you know, whether it be, you know, creative projects, or, you know, wanting to change my career, like what, just fill in the gaps of the things that you think will make you happy. And like what I need to do is like Elio's mom said. She said, you know, that your home's not out there, your home's here.
Dude.
And I think
beautiful.
Preach. I need to learn that in my own home, and realize like, no, like
Amen.
my life, you know what I mean? My life is about being a husband to my wife, and
Amen.
about being a father to my son.
Amen.
And that's what my life's all about. So yeah.
See, it's already happening. It's already like new things are like popping up, blowing my mind about this movie.
So good.
2 peps. We got 2 peps ready to go.
So now we're on to ratings and rankings. So, and Dizzle, what is your pizza slice rating?
So, honestly, I don't want to go too low or too high, but I really liked what I saw. And I think, you know, if you watch it a second time or third time, I'm sure things will come up. One thing that did initially come for me, so like I do think the underlying theme, the way it was all tied together, from Elio realizing that he didn't think it was his family, he didn't have any friends, and he turned it into something else. I think the underlying story of this film and the underlying themes of this film are very top notch, and again the creativity of the thing was good. As I think about it, I wish there had been a little bit more. We didn't really understand what the Communiverse did, and we didn't really understand the purpose of Elio being in there. And as we were thinking of it, the cynic in me was almost like, Elio, were the aliens really that stupid that they could tell that you weren't the leader? I don't know. And so now I'm thinking, just to balance it, I have the heartstrings tug, the laughter. I really enjoyed the thing. I really enjoyed the movie. So I'm gonna say 8 because I think there were some things that you could develop, but some very solid. It's a very solid movie, and it's got a lot in it, a lot of deep emotional things, and storylines, and the characters and stuff. I liked Gareth's point about maybe was that kind of a convenient exit out of the prison cell. So really solid, very good. As I was thinking a little bit, so I'm going to go with 8. Really good, and maybe it could grow up a little bit as I see it, but don't think it hits the top 5 Pixar movies necessarily. I'm sorry to spoil the rankings, but that's why I'll go 8.
I mean, 8 pizza slices, that'll feed you for a day and a half.
There you go.
That's quite a bit.
That's tomorrow's lunch.
And then, do you want to go into rankings, or do we?
Yeah.
So
It-
if I don't think it cracks the top 5 for me.
Okay.
But it's definitely, it's probably closer to the bottom of 10 because if I'm being honest, so it probably is closer to 10 than 6.
Oh, so it is. So it would make your top 10.
It would make a top 10
because there's
now.
I think
wow.
almost 30 movies I think right now.
There was at least 20 last time I did.
There are
it.
29.
Okay, so you're right. It's so with that in mind, not having ranked it, I want to say it's a top 10 consideration.
Okay.
Without a doubt. Because of the things that I said later, now I'm thinking, did it have as much depth as, an Incredibles or Inside Out or, it definitely was good, but now I'm thinking about how in depth and because when I think about the Communiverse and there really wasn't much to it. They didn't really explore that world much. And Inside Out, look inside Riley's, subconscious and how exquisite that in detail that was. So I think it definitely is a top 10 consideration, but maybe it's more that 10 and then up for debate from there. But yeah.
Well, you'll have to give us maybe a follow-up voice note once you get a clear evaluation of your all 29 Pixar movies.
Yeah.
And we can play that either on this episode or a future episode. But Ben, what do you rank this movie? Or sorry, what do you rate this movie?
Man,
how many pizza slices?
Will
you be able to eat tomorrow?
I have enough for quite a while, guys. Let's just put it that way. So this is a tough one. I will say that initially, after I walked out of the theater, I remember I was like, I really love this movie, but I don't know if it's quite top tier. But the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, whoa, there's a lot of depth. This movie, I'm losing any ground for much complaints. I personally don't think I have any major complaint yet, which is a lot to say. So I'm almost tempted to give it a 10 out of 10 because of how much I enjoyed it and not finding hardly any flaws, unless just maybe maybe I'll find those later. But but to play it safe and give myself room maybe to move it up later, I'm gonna go with a 9.5. I thought it was extremely solid a film in Pixar's canon, and it actually makes my number 10, just barely.
Wow.
So yeah, so I really love this movie. We'll see how that fares. If that will the freshness will wear off, the energy will wear off on it. But as it stands right now, obviously we're nowhere near top 5 material, but strong film. Not much that I can personally complain about. I didn't have any need for more development in other areas. So yeah, I'm gonna go a 9.5. But what about you, Gary?
Sweet beans. Oh my goodness. Did you rank it already?
Number 10. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did. Okay, yes, I was going back and forth between 8.5 slices out of 10 and 9 slices out of 10, and I just feel like I'm gonna give it 9 because I am really hungry. First of all, but also because
More pizza.
No, also because the more we talk about this movie, it genuinely has so many different layers and so many different things to think about, and it felt good to come out of a Pixar movie and have so much substance to kind of digest and know that there's going to be even more next time.
Yes,
like
exactly.
this is more so like I've raved about other recent Pixar movies, and I think Elemental was probably a similar situation where I felt like there was a lot of meat to that one too. But there's been other ones where it's like, I really like Lightyear, but I don't feel like I need to rewatch Lightyear for, the groundbreaking story. Like, I don't feel like that's going to feed me, I feel like there are so many things about this movie, that I'm excited to see how it holds up against the test of time. Because we just saw it, and I'm really excited about it. But I'm going to give it 9 and see how I feel, after some time has passed. Yeah. But it is currently sitting at number 16 out of 29.
Nice.
So definitely upper half for me.
Yeah,
Can I just say my 8 pizza slices were meat lovers?
Oh,
so
well, that
boys.
that actually changes things. So now you actually have the top ranking for it.
Oh.
But yeah, no, I'm so happy that this movie not only surpassed my expectations, but it kind of blew them out of the water. I'm excited to show this movie to my wife, and I'm excited for Lachlan to see it someday. I think it'll be interesting to see how it holds a kind of a peg in this era of Pixar, because right now we're just coming off of the 1-2 punch of Elemental and Inside Out 2, both of which were warmly to very positively received, and so this movie I'm interested to see if this is building a trajectory towards potentially a high point for Pixar. We'll see. I think is Toy Story 5 next on the docket. I don't remember if it's that or Hoppers.
They have a lot of sequels coming up, so
yeah.
Hoppers was on the trailer on the movie at the end.
Yeah. So anyways, that was
teaser.
That was Elio.
Woo.
Do we have anything else?
No, and Dizzle, dude, Andy, thank you so much, man,
been
for
a
being
pleasure.
on the podcast, bro.
Thank you, Andy.
Yeah.
10 years from Good Dinosaur. We're back.
Yeah,
We're back.
baby. And it's not the last time. We'll have you
No,
back,
it's not the
man.
last time. Yeah, no, it was great. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the conversation, and just kind of refueled my love of Pixar. No, I'll definitely. I know I took a photo of, and I know I ranked the movies, but I had a piece of paper, and I think I kept that. So I will have to digitize that so that next time I have it ready to go.
Dude, yeah. Well, we want to see your list too.
Yeah. So
well,
and I've got some. I'm gonna lie. Like I said, you guys are the Pixar gurus. I'm just glad to hop on your bandwagon. But there are some films I probably need to go back and watch. But the reason, when I think about top 10 and stuff, I'm probably not realizing the whole encompassing of it. So definitely, though, good to go back and watch some of them and relive the Pixar, the lore.
Oh yeah.
Well, can we just make it a tradition now that we bring Andy to premieres?
I mean, if he can make it.
Well,
We'll see.
If you're available.
If we're available.
If the wife allows it.
It's been really good. We've been able to do this, but I do like the idea of seeing the premieres, and obviously, now that we've done this, and I can be more ready. So
we should maybe start a segment for Andy's voice notes. We could have Andy record voice notes whenever we want him to weigh in on something.
I will say, and again, probably gets back Elio, Gusto, and Grygon. The combination of that actor, whoever he was,
Brad Garrett, shout out.
No wonder I loved him.
You know Brad Garrett though from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yes, okay. I couldn't put yes, of course. Wow. Okay, all coming full circle. No, it's been awesome to be here with you guys. Thanks for having me, and yeah, well, love to have it happen again.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
All right. Well, Ben, I think it's that time.
As we say,
Keep it in O for onward
because adventure is out there
to infinity.
and beyond.
Okay.
Okay,
Goodbye. I love you.
Pizza out.